Oh my God, yes, we're gonna have lots of fun, Donna. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Belva. Thank you, Brenda, for coming and visiting me. And are y'all ready to get some fabric painting done today? I even put on one of my special shirts today that I actually did some fabric painting on. And yeah, so I dabbled a little bit on a few different things. I like to paint on shoes. I like to paint on bags. I like to paint on t-shirts, jackets, you name it. Fabric painting is a lot of fun, guys, and it's only gotten easier lately. If you guys have tried to dabble on it before and you had to go out and buy all the special fabric paints, then definitely they're a little bit different. Okay, I did enjoy doing it. I enjoyed playing with them as well. They're still an option for people, but you don't really need it. And for those of you guys that all love the folk art plaid company, then that's all you need. That's all you need, guys, is a little bit of folk art paint. And you could use the regular paint, or I prefer to use the multi-surface because, you know, I do paint on everything. I like painting on glass, and I paint on wood and walls and mirrors and you name it, and this will do it. So now with this textile medium, then you definitely, all you need to do is add a little bit of this into the paint and it'll make it soft, guys. Okay, so if you're new to my channel and new to me, I am a certified elite one-stroke instructor, and I've been playing around in the beauty industry for over 30 years, retired. Long story short, I hurt my hands and I can't hold on to people and do all the services anymore. So fortunately, it's my right hand that is good still, and I can sit and paint, enjoy, and still create. So I used to do a lot of these different things, you know, for little gifts for my customers at Christmas, or, you know, these bags make wonderful gift bags. You can put your gifts in there, and or just go shopping with them, and you have really stylish bags to bring with you. So I've done a couple projects here already. And well, I show you guys some holiday bags that I did. Okay, this is like a Santa sleigh. That'll be coming soon. We'll pull that out for Christmas in July. But we just did a fun Easter bunny online in Zoom. And so that's now available. And then this is another poinsettia one that I did, my very first one that I played around with. And I only did one coat on this, guys. So I'm really hoping that you can see that it just didn't penetrate. All right, the fabric will suck it up. And so there is a few tricks that I like to do and play around with fabric, and I want to show you guys that today, and let you know how you can spruce these guys up and create some new ones. And I've got a lot of different paint parties on my site, guys, that have come with a pattern, so it would be very easy to integrate a lot of these projects that we did on canvas on fabric bags too, guys. So if you have a resource in your neighborhood to get these bags, they're fairly cheap. They're only like maybe $1, $2 maybe, depending where you live. And I have a wonderful Canadian supplier that I give you a link to, and they are also in the States too, and they'll ship to you. So if you want to promote small businesses, you know, they've been wonderful to me over the years. I've always bought all my little packing supplies and stuff like that there. And of course, you know, good old Amazon, you can always probably find them as well. So the one thing that I do want to give you guys some heads up about these bags is that they're nice and smooth here, okay? So there is some that have like a strap that's glued down the very front of it. It might make it a little bit hard. And jean jackets sometimes have that little rib that, you know, you might have to paint over, okay, where the lining is and the stitching is folded over. So make sure that you do get the nice smooth bags, okay? There's nothing on them. And you don't have to worry about covering up any logos or whatever. They come in all different colors, guys. They come in red and blue and white and green, and so it really doesn't matter what color of bag that you do choose. You know, it really still gonna take a bit of base coating, guys. Okay, so basically that is a little bit of the trick. But you know, there is a bunch of different ways of playing with this medium, so that's what I want to show with you guys, how to be able to get that paint to get in there and stay nice and stay soft. Okay, so like I said, there's at least 3 different ways that I'm going to show you how to blend your paints with this textile medium. And if you guys hang out with me today for the whole duration, you know, not too long, I've got some quick ways there that I can probably maybe make it a little bit quicker. We do spend a bit more time on Zoom, but for the live today, I figured I would try to do like a quicker version as much as I could to show you guys how to do this. And then just watch me, guys, okay? So if those that like to paint with me, I love that you like to paint with me. So just hang out with me, watch the process, and then come back with the recording, and then paint with the recording, okay? So then you can fast forward me and stop me and do all that fun stuff. So yeah, definitely, while I'm here, guys, definitely pop questions down here below. And Donna's here from Mississippi, and I've got some of my Canadian friends here with me. And so let me know down in the comments below, where are you from? Where are you painting? Have you ever heard of one stroke before? How much experience do you have? Because I've got lots and lots and lots of fun things to come to show you more tricks and tips and ways of doing things. Brenda's from Palm Springs. Oh, I bet you it's nice and warm down there. Spring is just starting here. I have a couple, not tulips, but the crocuses. Crocuses starting to show themselves yet, but they have not started to bloom yet. So I can't wait to see my garden come back alive. So yeah, we got Jackson, Florida, Spring Valley, California. Thank you guys for joining me today with Cecilia Dobson. And who else do we have new here? Patricia. Thank you, ladies, for coming and joining me today. So I've got some VIPs here, definitely. You guys, if you want to comment down below for all the new people, let them know how much you're loving the boot camp that we're doing. We just played with dancing with our liner brush yesterday, and we did all kinds of different fun things. I do have some videos down below. You guys got to check out my playlists, and you'll see some sneak peeks to the liner rows that I did. And but we break it right down and go really nice and slow and do it all together on the class, guys. So definitely, you need more help, I'm there for you, online or live. You know, we can always meet on Zoom. And yeah, I'm just so excited. This is a whole new platform for me. Thank you. And we're like, I don't know if it shows me now, but I was like so close to 500 subscribers here. So make sure, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe, hit the bell, so whenever I come live and post new videos, then you guys will know that they're up. And definitely share anything that you like to share would be wonderful. I appreciate all you guys sharing on Facebook. And yeah, I got a lot of my Facebook friends here. And so if you're new, like I said, you just found me here on YouTube, come and check out our Facebook group. We usually do our lives there, so lots of things I can share there, a little easier, you know, pictures and links and stuff like that, over on our Facebook group. So join us there. Our members like to share all their pictures there of how they're doing, and yeah, it's a fun little community over on Facebook here too. But I am trying to grow my YouTube channel here a little bit too, so definitely more to come. I've got weekly things going on. And yeah, I want to show you some brushes that I use, and the medium again. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Bring it down to my desk view here. And yeah, so we are going to paint this fun water fountain. Okay, make this nice and big for you guys to see. I actually gave this to my mom, so I can't even show you this one. But yeah, it's pretty easy. We have done some more advanced kind of topiary vases and stuff like that. This is just a quick, easy one. Like I said, they're for bags, tossed around in the back seat of your car. And, you know, so again, you're not going to spend the same amount of time that you would something that's going to be cherished more on the wall, or even like a t-shirt that you're going to wear and have for a long time. So like I said, the bags are recycle bags. They do have their little quirky things too, because they are recyclable. All right, I want to show you what happened to me here. I was trying to get this bag finished quickly, and because we normally will heat set our fabric to make it more wearable and washable and resistant, right? So I decided to try and iron these things, and usually we put like a nice drop cloth down, or a tea towel, or some wax paper to protect your paint from melting onto your iron. And I never had a problem before with anything, so I thought these bags are like fabric, right? Well, wrong, they're not. They are more like paper. Okay, so you can rip them a little bit, you know, like they're fabric, guys, but they're not. Okay. They will act like fabric. So what I'm going to show you today is going to be everything you need to know for anything. But do not heat set these bags, because it ended up melting all around the outside of my paint. The paint was fine. The bag is what melted. Okay, so you don't need to heat set these bags. Just let them, make sure you let them sit for a good couple weeks before you give them away, and then you'll be fine. Like, you can see the little holes. Okay, so it just melted everything and broke it all down, all along the edge of where I painted. So do not iron these, guys, okay? You don't need to heat set them. I should have this in big letters somewhere. You're popping out at you. But yeah, definitely, that's the only thing about these fabric bags, okay? Because you may hear you gotta heat set fabric. If you're doing shoes, the same thing. The canvas shoes, I never heat set them. I just let them sit for, you know, a good couple weeks, and they were fine. All right, you're not going to put them in the washer and dryer. If you're going to put something in a washer or dryer, yes, those are the items that you're going to heat set. All right, does that make sense? That's the biggest question I get all the time about the wear and durability of the fabric paints, okay? The glitters, they're another story too, okay? So they are made with a little bit of metal flakes in them. All right, so definitely they have like aluminum kind of style, so you definitely want to make sure that your heat setting is low, okay, if you are doing t-shirts. The Fabric Creations do make a wonderful glitter that's already made with the fabric stuff that you need in there to make it all nice and soft. Okay, if you use other glitters on your fabric, it will be hard and crunchy and might crack on you. So that's the only thing that I would definitely invest in, is the Fabric Fantasy glitters. If you do want to invest into the Fabric Creations, they are wonderful as well. I find them a little bit more rubbery, and they do take a little longer to dry. All right, so if you're layering and you need it to dry and you want to put another coat on it, then definitely you need to let it dry, right? So you can speed it along with a bit of a blow dryer, and then that definitely helps as well. Okay, but like I said before, you guys don't need to really worry about it as long as you have the multi-surface paint, okay? And then the textile medium. All right, because normally we use like a floating medium. All right, so this is just the fluff that's in our paint, just thins it down a little bit, makes it more movable, spreadable. When we're doing big strokes and long strokes, you know, you can really gauge the amount of thinness that you want in your paint to help you depending on what you're doing. So this is a very versatile floating medium that we usually use on a lot of different things. But again, it'll keep, have you ever got paint on your clothes, guys? And then, you know, you touch it and then it's all hard, right? Well, it won't happen if you mix it with the textile medium. Okay, so just make sure that you have that, and then you won't have any problems. So Martha's saying she's fairly new to the one-stroke technique. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, Martha. Definitely, you know, you got to baby step yourself in. Concentrate on one stroke at a time is what I suggest. And then definitely, you know, it comes a little at a time that you'll be able to get it, and then you learn how to advance it and twist it. And I call them hybrids, because you take a little bit of one stroke and you take a little of another stroke, and then you kind of combine them together, and then you're doing backflips and all kinds of fun things. So yeah, there's so much to learn, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I do have a system how I broke it down in my baby steps, all on my site. If you guys are interested in really honing down on those strokes, I highly suggest on jumping on my program. I have the whole practice course library that is available. And then I also teach you guys throughout all of my projects too. So I'm always trying to teach you a little bit here and there. But yeah, like I said, if you really want to practice on your stroke work, then the whole program is highly recommended. I've got 12 courses there now with lots of bonus assignments that I put in there as well. And you guys will have lots of fun, and you'll be there for many, 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 many hours. And I hope you have a printer with lots of ink and paper, because there's loads and loads and loads of practice sheets in there as well, in a PDF that you guys can print out and practice on. So we're also going to talk a little bit about brushes here while we're here. And Donna Dewberry is definitely my go-to for all of my supplies. All right, so we have a value set, guys, that is perfect. It works great. It really does. It's a versatile brush that you can use on all surfaces. All right, so if you want to get a little bit more particular, there is a fabric set, these brown ones here. Okay, some of them might have some paint on them, but there's and this one's really old because I spent lots of time in the water. And I used to not take care of my brushes, but I learned along the way how to do that, and now I don't have any problems with my brushes. So anyways, I have hacks and lots of information on down below in my playlist, guys, about brush care and stuff like that, so I won't spend too much time on that. But this is basically it's a 4-piece set that you can get. It's a fabric set, and it's really nice because it's a little stiffer. Okay, so with fabric, you really got to push that in. And if you just even use my towel as an excuse, as an example here, I have to like hold that fabric really taut, and then that way you'll have a little bit more stretch, you know, so you'll be able to push down on that brush and it won't move around on you. Otherwise, it's really hard to get a stroke to go into fabric. So you definitely got to pin things down, and I've got a couple different ideas I want to show you guys about that as well. And but the thicker and the denser the brush is, like, it's still got a beautiful chisel on all of her brushes, but this one doesn't have, it has a really strong snapback. Like, it's very, very sturdy, so you can really push in that fabric. Okay, so again, our value set does work. You might have to push just a tiny bit more. And then she also has a pro set. There's a 4-piece pro set that's available, and it's actually just a little bit more stiffer than our value set. Okay, so if you have the pro set, you might notice a difference between those two in the value set, and it's very similar even in the colors. Okay, so there is different materials. Okay, so this is more like a Teflon kind of nylon plastics, so these are just a little bit different materials. I don't know how the exact name of this one, but it is a little bit stiffer and stronger each hair. Okay, so the way they're packed in together as well, there's a little bit more of a belly on these too, so you can really put a lot more paint on them. Okay, so then we also have a set here that Donna has, and she'll even tell you herself that really these are best for glass. Okay, it says it's glass and fabric, but definitely they are a really lightweight Teflon. I do have one here already. So they do get stained a little bit when you start painting with dark colors, but as long as you keep the paint all out of it, then you're still going to have a nice chisel on them. Okay, so there is a lot more flexibility in these ones. Okay, and then in glass painting, you want to lay down that paint a little bit different. So yeah, I'm going to definitely have more videos to come about glass painting, but today we're going to concentrate on fabric painting. Okay, so I do like to use, you know, just like I said, most of us do have the value set, and it is a great brush to use that I just tend to use all the time. I don't usually go out of my way to go grab my other brushes. I have them all organized in different cups, you know, and then that way I know which brushes I'm using for which surface. Okay, but like I said, I'm going to show you guys that the value set is a wonderful set to have. I've been using it for years, and then also, again, if you really want to upgrade yourself, they are her signature set is wonderful as well. Okay, so it's like your value set as well for push. Okay, it's got that same sort of flexibility in it, and but they are wonderful. They have even a stronger chisel, and then her special brushes that she has, and her fan brush is all included in that as well. Okay, so if you want to jump on our signature set, I know they sell out really quickly, so they might be on back order. And it's a beautiful set as well that you can jump on. And got an angle brush in there too, and a filbert. So yeah, all our sets are a little bit different depending on your needs and what your budget's all about. Like I said, doesn't matter what your budget is, in my opinion, this value set is still, to me, very high up there in the ranks of what I think of a quality brush is. So even though it says value, don't get that wrong, because like I said, to me, they're premium because they are a Donna DeBerry brush. Okay, so we'll put these away because we cried about that, and there's usually even a pictorial, guys, about me painting that. I have quick pictorials sometimes with just quick little verbs of what I talk about, how to do the process, so you guys got to check out some of my pictorials there as well. So yeah, it's just a quick boo questions there. Belva was on, I bought all the colors of the fabric paint, but when I tried to load them, it's stringy and it's getting all over. Is that normal? Are you using the medium with it? Okay, you definitely need the textile medium. All right, and I would only say that would happen if they got old on you. But they are a little bit rubbery. Like if you felt some of my material, I wish you could feel through the internet. The texture on the top of the paint when it's done, it does feel a little more rubbery than the multi-surface. So like I said, guys, I'm pretty much switched right over just to using multi-surface now. Depending on what it is, I might still pull these out just to use them up because I have them and I'd be ashamed to waste them. So it depends on the color too, because this tone of pink is just a little bit different than what we can find. So if I really wanted this tone of poppy color, then definitely I'm going to use my fabric, and you can use them together, guys. So like I said, you can't always get all the colors in the fabric line that we can get in the multi-surface, so there's no reason why you can't use both of them. Okay, definitely, it's not a problem at all. Alrighty, so see if we can have a good, not too much exposure going on here. I'll leave my plate a little bit back here, so hopefully you guys don't get too much brightness. Because it really just, I was playing around with my settings, and if I used the blue bag, it was too dark. If I used my green bag, it was too bright. So it was really driving me crazy with all the different colors, trying to get it right for you guys, and have it bright enough. Okay, so you can let me know quickly, is it too bright? I can maybe turn down the light a little bit. I just bought them, and no, I don't think I used the textile medium. It just says paint on. No, you definitely need something, and really water is, I try to stay away from water when I'm using the fabric paint. And I'm going to show you guys as well. All right. I'm going to show you on the blue bag how to lay out your pattern really quickly. And all you need is maybe a small bowl and a ruler. Okay? And I don't have a small bowl, but you get the gist of it. No, I don't even have anything that big round. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your bowl on your fabric and just make a half circle, guys. Okay, so it's not like you have to be pretty precise, because by the time you go and add all of these flowers and leaves and everything hanging over it, you're not going to see a lot of it, so you're just going to see the very bottom of the base of it. All right, so you don't need to worry about getting fancy on your drawing skills here. So you don't have to worry about too much about how you're going to lay it out. All right, so you basically want to have half of your canvas. Okay, the bottom part is going to be the fountain, and the top part is going to be where your flowers are going to be. Okay, so the blue does show up good when I start putting the chalk, and that's all I'm using is chalk, guys, because what's nice about the chalk is that you can erase it very easy. Okay, so I'm going to take one of Donna DeBerry's spongy painting sponges, and like I said, if you don't, anything sticks out after you finish painting it, you can just erase the chalk on it and it'll go away. So I'm painting on dark surfaces here, so I need a light color to stand out. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that okay. Try to turn that up just a little bit up for you there. Is that better, guys? I have to play with this lighting depending on what colors I play around with. Okay, so basically it's just making your half circle, guys. Okay, and then hopefully you're going to cover this with paint and it's going to absorb and not be a big deal. Okay, so you can make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, not a big deal. Okay, okay. I do have, I think, one set of fabric brushes. I'll have to check my stock again. But I think I just have, well, I obviously have these ones here. But I'm always ordering from Donna, so I could always add them into my next order. But I can message you and I'll let you know, okay? So yeah. All of them are on my site under supplies, the ones that I do have in stock for sure. But I might have a set that's not on there. Okay. So basically you can use a ruler if you want, right, to make your little lines. And if you have your half circle, you want to kind of cut it in thirds. All right, so there's half. And then if you want to pick half of here, or a little less than half, and a little less than half over here, okay, just eyeball it a little bit, right? And then you want to have a little bit of a platform. So now that you know the thickness of your base here, right? So we're going to just eyeball it here a little bit and put a line from here to here. Okay. So then you can make your box down to your line. Okay. And then all I did was just make the tiers a little bit wider. Okay. So you're going to come a little bit wider. You're going to come down about an inch or half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so you want to put like maybe 2. You can always just do 2 in here, guys. All right, so the next one's going to be a little bit bigger. And then the bottom. Okay, so maybe that one's even a little bit bigger. So we'll just put 2 on here. I got fancy and made 3 the first time. Okay, so sometimes you can just put 2. So then all you have to do is just kind of put a little bit of a round on each side. Soften that a little bit. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add all these little stripes in later with our brush with the colors. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is definitely go in and base coat everything and have it dry. Okay, so there's 2 ways of doing it, guys. You can definitely go and put out your paint. Okay. A little bit at a time so you don't waste it. Okay, so once you get painting on a few of them, or you can multitask. If you're doing like 2, 3 bags, you want to give one to your aunt, one to your mom, one to your grandmother, you know, definitely have all your bags out and then base coat them all at the same time, and then they can dry, and then you can multitask and add a little bit at each time, so that way you're not putting all your colors out at the same time and then starting all over from scratch again. So definitely, you know, multitask when you can, right? So there's, like I said, there's different ways of doing it. So the first way, when you're starting from scratch and you're doing a big area, you know, you can definitely put some floating medium on your plate. Okay. And, or the textile medium, sorry guys, textile medium. And you can see that it's really runny, guys. Okay, it's like water consistency. If you put the floating medium on, you'll see that it's a lot thicker, okay? So this is going to replace all water unless you're cleaning your brush, okay? This is basically it. So you can definitely just moisten your brush. This is a dry brush that hasn't been used. I washed it last night. It's dry. And so I am not putting it in water first at all. I'm going to actually use my textile medium as my water, okay? So the first thing you want to do is protect your items. I almost got ahead of myself there. So you definitely want to put something down inside of it. And I forgot, I was telling you guys I have a new hack. I have to show you this way. Maybe I can show you. Okay. So I do have the idea that I shared with you guys about wax paper. All right. So you're just going to pop that down inside your bag, so then that way it doesn't bleed through onto the back side of your bag. Okay, see how much brighter it is over here in this camera. Lighting. It's all about lighting. So anyways, yes, definitely put something down there, a barrier. Okay, and I had a old box that I had used a long time ago, and I had done packing tape all around it. And it was too big, so this is where I thought, okay, just use wax paper, it's fine, it's just a quick bag. But then the paint, when it dries, it does get sticky, and it's not a problem. You can pull all the wax paper off. You guys will see it in my class that we did with the Easter Bunny, that we didn't have a problem. Okay, so it will stick a little bit on the inside. There is Easter Bunny. Alright. So the wax paper did stick a little bit on the inside. Alright, so it was no problem. You just peeled it off, and it's not a big deal. It's a bag, and it's on the inside. Alright, and it looks wonderful. But you don't want it to bleed through the back side of your bag, right? Okay, so I remembered that I had also used old cookbooks. And packing tape, I just kept putting it all the way around it. Alright, so you can see that it's pretty shiny. Okay, so I gave it its own barrier, so just try to be really neat about it and lay it down nice and flat. Okay, and not crumpled up, so that you're able to paint on it nice and smooth. Okay, so just do your best. Right, may lay it on nice and smooth, take your time. And this works great too, guys. You can easily pop this down inside the bag, and then this, it won't stick as badly. All right, it'll peel right off very easy. Okay, so then also what I suggest you guys do, if you have those little choppy things, these guys come really in handy. Okay, and then you just hold it in place so that it doesn't move on you. You have 2 of them on each side. And if you were doing a t-shirt, you'd have like 6 of these things holding it in all different directions to hold it really nice and tight. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna be doing a quick demo on here. I'll show you quickly. Okay, so we have our barrier in there now. And then we're going to load up our brush with the textile medium. And then you can just start pre-moistening the whole area. And right on top of your chalk, so you don't have to worry about erasing it. And then get that moisture in there. And then what you can do is add a little bit of floating medium, or textile medium in there again, and then just come over and pick up a tiny bit of white. Okay, and you just need basically a thin layer, guys, as your base coat, because it will dry a lot faster for you if you just do thin layers. And if you're doing a black bag or like this dark bag, you know, I might do 3 thin coats if I really wanted it to show up really nice and white. It's 3 thin coats are better than 2 thick coats, right? And your first coat is so important, because if you get it too thick, all you're doing is pushing it through to the other side of the fabric, guys. Okay, so it's going to definitely have that barrier in there once it dries, and then your second coat is going to actually sit right on top of that coat, so it won't penetrate anymore. So then you'll get that opaqueness of your color much nicer. Okay, so definitely you do got to take the time to go and base coat all the areas. Okay, and then you're just going to follow that around, doing all around the outside. Okay, so this is, like I said, another area. So you do go through quite a bit of textile medium. You always want to have that in your brush and come over and add a little bit here on the side. Just keep going all the way around all your edges. Okay, so this is why I said that I wanted you guys just to watch and ask questions and hang out with me for a little while. And then you can come back and paint with the video again or remind yourself what I said. Okay, so I'm going to change this over to another one that I have already. Our barrier in there now. And then we're going to load up our brush with the textile medium. And then you could just start pre-moistening the whole area and right on top of your chalk, so you don't have to worry about erasing it. And then get that moisture in there. And then what you can do is add a little bit of floating medium or textile medium in there again, and then just come over and pick up a tiny bit of white. Okay, and you just need basically a thin layer, guys, as your base coat, because it will dry a lot faster for you if you just do thin layers. And if you're doing a black bag or like this dark bag, you know, I might do 3 thin coats if I really wanted it to show up really nice and white. It's 3 thin coats are better than 2 thick coats, right? And your first coat is so important because if you get it too thick, all you're doing is pushing it through to the other side of the fabric, guys. Okay, so it's going to definitely have that barrier in there once it dries, and then your second coat is going to actually sit right on top of that coat, so it won't penetrate anymore. So then you'll get that opaqueness of your color much nicer. Okay, so definitely you do got to take the time to go and base coat all the areas. Okay, and then you're just going to follow that around, doing all around the outside. Okay, so this is, like I said, another area. So you do go through quite a bit of textile medium. You always want to have that in your brush and come over and add a little bit here on the side. Just keep going all the way around all your edges. Okay, so this is why I said that I wanted you guys just to watch and ask questions and hang out with me for a little while. And then you can come back and paint with the video again or remind yourself what I said. Okay. Okay, so I do have one that's already pre-done and it's already dry. Okay. I did 3 tiers on it. And like I said, depends on how thick you want to do it. You can just use your brush and go straight across. You don't have to measure things out if you don't want to, but some people need to have that little pattern to follow. Then definitely you guys can do that with a piece of chalk. How's that there? Can you guys see the on the green better? Not so much contrast. Need more light. I know the blue is really bad. Yeah, thank you, Belva. No, that's why I just wanted to do a quick demo on the blue, but definitely I think the green is better, right? I don't want it too bright. Okay, how's that, guys? Is that better? Yeah, green's better. Lighting's better. Thanks, guys. Thank you for your patience. I'll get this right, but there's just, like I said, when you're playing with all these different colors and they're doing a desk view, it's so bright with all the lights for you guys to be able to see. So, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge to do these videos when you're doing a lot of demoing and the camera's bouncing all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to leave that cardboard in my other one because it's wet still. So I'm just going to pop some wax paper in here quickly because that's fine too. Like I said, I didn't have any problem with using wax paper at all. And then you can always just use like little clips, paper clips as well to hold down, not slip around. Because you don't want this to move now until it's dry, okay? And you can take a blow dryer, try to separate it. And sometimes what I do is I take the blow dryer, if I want to separate it, and blow dry down it so it's dry back here, you know, while it's wet. There's another way you can do it, definitely. You know, if you feel like you didn't want to fight with the wax paper stuck on there or anything like that. Okay, so I just did one coat on here. All right, so now I can go and mix another color. So originally I did do this with a coffee latte or burnt umber and double loaded my brush with the white. Okay, so whatever colors you want, whatever you think is going to look nice on your color of background. Okay, so I thought to change it up a little bit, I would do a gray with the white, more of a stone kind of pot. I got this nice and moist, so I'm letting my brush just sit here, okay? But it's full of medium, so it's not going to dry out on me, alright? So I definitely don't want to be putting this in the water when I'm not using it. Just because you don't want it to dry out, mostly is what we do. But like I said, another little trick here is just to like load it up with lots of floating medium and let it sit in the pile while you're, you know, doing things. And that way you're not going to waterlog your brush. Okay, so another way, guys, to do this here as well. Try my little spatula off. Is to pre-mix it. Okay, so you can go ahead and bring some of that medium over. Okay, a little at a time, and what you think you're going to need. And on the bottle it says, to be exact, 1 part paint to 2 parts medium. So that's a lot of medium, guys. Okay, so what I find with the folk art multi-surface is it almost tells you what's enough, because when you're just painting with the paint alone with just a little bit of medium in your brush, sometimes it's still a little bit hard so to put it into the fabric. So if you feel like it's really dry and dragging, then you got to add more medium. And so definitely it'll tell you when it doesn't have enough medium. Right, so it's a little bit foolproof, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to put this all back in a nice little pile again. This edge neat. A little bit. Okay. And then we have our gray. Okay, so you can also do that with your white. Okay, so we're going to pull out a little bit of white. And we're going to pull all this medium over and pre-soften. So you just need a little spatula and plastic one or something like that. You don't have to spend a lot of money on metal ones. They break too, guys. I've had 2 of them bust on me lately. Pushing too hard. And trying to clean it. The other one I was just trying to clean it and it busted right out to the base. Okay, so learn from my mistakes. Alright, so now we have 2 piles that are already softened with the medium. It's on my floor. It's only my studio, so it's not a big deal. You guys will see my desk is full of paint too. Alrighty, so with our double loading, okay, you guys know how to double load your brush, most of you here, I think. But if you haven't done it before, then definitely it's just all about putting 2 colors on your brush at the same time. Okay, I'm right in my medium pile. And if I feel like I'm too runny, guys, you could always come over and pick up some strong paint and just make it a little bit more coverage in the little blending area that you're gonna use. Okay, so what I like to do in my second coat, this is where I waste like the first time, I don't waste time double loading my brush. I just get a base coat on that's very similar to the color of what I want to do. So depending on what you're doing, I might have picked a gray or a neutral tone that is going to go with whatever I want to paint on. Okay, very similar color, something that you can still add some shading and highlighting to. All right, so a lot of times we will do all the way around the outside. We will use our double loading techniques to shade items as well. Okay, so it's not always about flowers, guys. Okay, you can do these tricks with any landscape or botanical, I always say. And there's so many different ways of doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow here at the top, so then that way it looks like my flowers are causing a little bit of shadow. Okay, so again, my fabric is telling me that I don't have enough medium and I don't have enough paint because it's just not covering. So slow down a little bit too on your fabric. Allow that paint to get in there. And then you'll see that your second coat is going to be way better than your first coat for coverage, and all those little holes are going to get filled up. Okay. All the way around the outside. And just flip-flop a little bit of that white there inside here in the middle. Keep adding our paint, gray. Okay. And then we can make a little bit of a little ledge under here too. I didn't do that in my original drawing. So you can always add that in there too after. Okay, just coming up underneath your bowl a little bit more. And you can do this straight down, or you can make this like into a little bit of a C curve here. Right. So just know that if you go over the areas that are previously base coated, they are going to need a second coat. It's just not going to penetrate the same way. Okay, so sometimes you can just put that color in there. Come back when it's dry. Put your stripes in there if you want. Okay, so that way you're working on a drier background. Makes it easy for you. Okay. You can just come in, start adding little stripes. You don't have to be very strong or lots of color, just enough to tip your brush over a little bit more. Then you can always go in and detail these a little bit more. Back up here. Do it in there. Or do it. Paint. So like I said, very subtle, just little lines. I'm fighting with this one here, lighting. Alright, and then the same thing I did over here, I just went sideways with my big brush. Sideways. And bring it out sideways. And then you can always go back in and add a little bit more shading after if you want. Come out again, sideways. Wider. Wider. Want this a little darker, you can always add a little bit more black in there as well. Or here. Like I said, see how you feel for coverage, or again, you can always just load one color on your brush and come in and add some more shading to it. You can always add little bits of grass and stuff over there as well, like we did in the Easter Bunny. We just leave them nice and simple. Okay. So definitely come in with a little bit of a charcoal color, add just that little bit of black in there, and just tweak it in little areas, and add a little extra shading here. That's what I plan to do. Okay. Again, you can always, once it's dry, it's a lot easier to get these little rims. So if you want to make a little bit more of a stripes over here on this side, you start over here, your way in, and we'll add some interesting little stripes on our bowl part. Okay, so this could be a flower pot, this could be a water fountain, you know, nice and tall and big. Definitely is going to be a water fountain, right? You can call it whatever you want. Okay. So now I'm going to actually figure out where I want to put my flowers, okay, because they're not base coated. All right, so there's going to be a lot of this area here that's going to be a lot of coverage. So realistically, you could have went in there and flip-flopped a bunch of paint in here just to get some sort of background in here. Okay. And what we can do here as well is just start adding a little bit of darker green in there. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of sap. And then I'm going to definitely need more textile medium. So sometimes when I only need a little bit, I'll flip over into my medium and just pick up the color as I need it. This just grounded my green. Oh well, this is how runny it is, guys. You can't be picking up your... Alright, so we want to add a little bit more depth. Okay, so we can definitely flip-flop a little bit of green background in there, and if there is any spaces on your design, then definitely you can go in. It'll have some sort of darkness in there for you. Okay, and if your paint is too thick, definitely you can always go in and pick up more medium and then work it in while it's all wet. Okay, so I'm just making it a little bit darker down at the bottom here, and then I'm flip-flopping a little bit up at the top here just to have a little bit of lighter color in there. And that helps a lot to get your flowers now and your leaves to start to set for you a lot easier. So there is going to be some trailing areas. Those strokes will have to be done twice, guys, okay? So just remember that any area that hasn't been painted is going to suck into the fabric first. Okay, so I'm going to leave this dry for a second here, and I'm going to pop back over to you guys and see if there's any questions, or can you float with textile medium? Yes, you're going to use it the same way you do the floating medium. It's just a different medium. All right, so I'm going to show you guys at the end there how to tweak in some extra shading. Does the Scruffy brush work on material like for moss and around the bottom? Yes, it does. And I can actually show you guys that too. Okay, so any Scruffy brush is just able to put that in there, no problem. Oh yeah, anything you do to any of the other surfaces, you're going to be able to do to the fabric. You just got to base coat it first because it won't cover good the first time for you. You know, definitely we want to come around and multitask where we can, and let some areas dry and then come down and work on another area. So let's add a little bit of moss down here. And then we can play with that while that's drying. Or you could take the blow dryer out and definitely speed things up a little bit on the low heat, guys, okay? Not very hot, and stay away from the bag. Or it might melt. Oh my god, you believe that night? It was so funny. Oh my god. Okay, so with the Scruffy brushes, definitely you want to make sure that they are dry too, okay? Even on any painting, any floating medium, it doesn't matter. These brushes always work best dry, no water in them, okay? But we do need to have the medium in them, okay? So this is the problem with the fabric painting and the Scruffy brushes. So I'm glad you brought that up, Elva. Okay, so we want to definitely do a little bit of softening with our paint, with our yellow, or you can definitely, like I said, mix a little bit of textile medium into your brush, and then just work a little bit in at a time. Okay, so I'm just going to hit it a couple times, come over into my yellow, and then I'm going to come over and pick up my dark green. Right, so we're going to do it on your plate here a little bit and get it worked in. And then if you feel like it's too thick, it doesn't hurt to go in and add just that little bit more textile medium, just so then you're safe, okay? And then you could always go over it twice and do a second coat if you're not getting enough coverage. Okay? So it's basically like a lot of our scruffy work that we've done on different canvases, okay? So you can just make a whole ground coverage underneath here and just work your way all the way across. Keep picking up fresh paint and a little bit more medium as you need it, and give it a little bit of ground coverage. And then once I get my base there just trickling up underneath the base of his, then definitely that's when you can start working down and just kind of do little random movements all the way across, like little circles, add a little bit more yellow if it's not bright enough. Okay, and then just don't go over the same area twice, guys, because it will start getting muddy and all one color. So the trick is just trying to keep moving and keep adding some of that dark. Okay, and having both colors in your brush. Okay, and then once I have that down, and I'm pushing hard, guys, I really am pushing hard. Keep adding more dark. Okay, so you can have a nice soft little bottom part. Every time I do these, they're always different. And definitely when you're doing live classes, it gives you the chance to change things up when people want to. Right, so now I'm just freckling. So freckling is a very light texture. So wherever it's light, you just want to do maybe a little tiny pounce just on those areas with just that little bit of white, guys. And just that freckling kind of look, just to brighten things up a little bit more. Okay, especially, you know, with the bags absorbing. Okay, so this might help to give it that little bit more coverage. And it's a little heavier coverage, right? You don't have to worry about doing a stroke. Okay. And then we can put a couple little more yellow on the top here, or the background, or, you know, wherever you want it. I'm running out of green. Okay, so maybe a little moss there. And if you want to put moss up here, you can put moss here. You know, or just more scruffy kind of looks. A little more yellow, just so that it looks like a flower filler. Okay, you can always start putting a little bit of trails with this, very fast and easy too. Get a little bit more interesting softness going on. Creating on the fly, guys. Okay, add more medium. Okay, have some like more you know, like our shadow leaves that just kind of trickle out and kind of disappear. Okay, so you don't need a lot of coverage with those. Trickle a little bit out. This is a quick way of getting a lot of coverage in there. Oops. Wait. Which is good. So now I want to show you guys how to erase that. Just take a damp sponge and just lift that up. Okay, so if it's previously painted, it's really easy to erase off of a painted surface. But if you guys are doing drop paint on your fabric bag, then you're going to have to add another flower on that area, because it's really hard to erase any of the paint off of a fabric. Okay, but if your base coat is dry and you want to erase a little bit, you can. Alright, so that's just a little bit of quick scruffy work there for you guys. Alright, you can always put some leaves on the ground or fell off the garden. Alright. Okay, so let's see. What do you guys have to say about that so far? Another question, does the scruffy work their material? Oh yeah, I answered that one already. Is there any way to correct the oops mistake, or if your brush touches somewhere? Did I answer that question, Brenda? I just conveniently made a mistake for you. Yes, definitely. If it's on an area that has been base coated, you can lift it off. But it has to be dry. On the bag, not so good. If you got, like I said, I did do a little area of my bunny rabbit there that I ended up dropping some paint over here. And we ended up putting a bunch of grass strokes on it. So just got to be creative or add glitter or something. There's a new part of the design that's going to be added that you didn't know about. Yeah, the fabric is a little bit less forgiving than a canvas. A canvas you could always just rinse off with a clean brush. So how are we doing, guys? You got any more questions for me? Love that scruffy. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. You can go a little crazy with it. I think I did. But yeah, no, definitely there's so many ways of doing it. Back then, if you guys see my original, I didn't do that. I just kind of kept painting them in there and putting the coverage, put my leaves in there, and but definitely having that little small area here in hindsight now, like I did do this, I think in 2018 or 19 or something like that. So, you know, you're always learning new tricks and new ways of doing things. So definitely that does help to, you know, play around with getting something there. Okay, so normally I don't make this much of a mess on my plate here, guys. I don't. Not with this little amount of colors anyways. If I am. Yes, but I have lots of colors. Okay, so this medium does roll away on you guys. Like I said, the textile medium is very watery, but it's actually great. And if you want to add those little fine strokes in the branches and curly cues and stuff like that, then definitely you got to pre-mix it and water it down, right? So we won't be using water. We'll be using the medium. Okay, so I'm just going to go and pre-soften a nice little area here. And you see it looks a little bit white, but once you mix it in really good, like it might lighten your color just a tiny titch, but nothing, not much. Just if it's lightening that much or making it that watery, then definitely you have way too much medium in there. Okay, so I'm gonna clean my, I'm gonna bring some of this medium over here and pre-mix some of my yellow. And then it'll be the right consistency that I want when I need it. Okay, so we're going to use like a 12 or a 16, depending on what you have. Okay, I like a little bit bigger brush, bigger leaves. So we're just going to play around with some simple one-stroke leaves and some teardrops here, and just a couple chisel strokes, similar to like a daisy style, and just a very simple kind of flower. If you guys want to get into roses and stuff like that, jump on my rose courses, and then you can easily paint those roses on the bag with what I'm teaching you today with the tricks, okay? So I might be being a little bit quick here for the live here, but please let me know. Comment down below anytime if you have any questions, and then maybe I can come back over, and if I miss any, then I'll definitely come back and answer them. I have lots and lots of videos, guys, for you in the playlist here as well, free, and a lot of the courses are really, really extensive if you jump on them. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just basically figure out where I want my branches. Okay, so on the other design, I put one up here. I'm gonna go all the way down around. Okay. And then this one can, again, I'm doing very heavy-handed here for some reason. I'm just so excited. Okay, but thank God it did drop in a spot that I need to add something. Okay, so then I'm going to come up and maybe come around in a different area. Okay, so you do have to kind of hold your bag down so it doesn't bounce. And you might have to go over that again, depending on how it looks. And usually after I put leaves in, I always go over my stem again anyways, right? So not a big deal. So now we want to put a couple that's going to trail down around the bottom. You can do one on the outside here. Just be careful. I'm looking at the screen, not watching where I'm picking up my colors. See how messy I'm getting here? Relax. Alright, so nice and clean. Not globby. Okay, and then we're going to put one down there. I usually like to do like odd numbers, but anything after 5, people stop counting. So we can definitely put one that's going to trail down right on top of this little mossy area here. A little smaller one. Okay, and then usually what I like to do is start right at the top. Okay, you're going to figure out where you want your little branches. Okay, usually we have one that's right at the top and a leaf right there. And you'll see right away if there's little draggy spots. If you feel like your stroke is not going into the fabric, you gotta either slow down or add just that little bit more of the textile medium into your blend. Okay, make your stroke really count. Make it nice and let it dry. And if you feel like you need to go over it, then it'll be no problem. Okay, so then if we want to make a little bit of a branch, okay, you can put some branches off of your main branch. Press down. Got one stroke leaf. So it's an angle to angle. Okay, so you're pushing down on an angle a little bit where you want it to go, and then your green is hardly moving and your white is actually leading to the point. Okay, so you don't want to slide too much. You don't want them to be too long unless you want to make slider leaves. But just little short, little stout ones are good. And if you want to make them smaller, you can always go in with a size 12 and add a few more leaves smaller as well. Medium. You can see that it only touches the top part of the fabric. Go through it again. I can see my green, dark green has actually got good coverage. I just maybe need a little bit more floating medium, or I keep saying floating medium, but I might just need a little bit more textile medium on one corner. Okay, my dark green is fine. It's the lighter blend that is not soaking into the fabric very good. Okay, so be aware of what needs your moisture, okay, and just add that little bit of floating medium, maybe on the one corner that you need it. You don't always have to plop in and add, you know, too much. Okay, so this one we can put in here. And then another one over here. Okay, more medium. More paint too, guys. Don't forget about the paint. That in there. You can see I push on it a little bit more. And when you're practicing cardstock, guys, doesn't this not remind you of cardstock? Okay, so definitely remember that. Forgive yourself when you're practicing on those cardstocks, because really it is just like painting on fabric. Okay, you want to add that little bit more lightness. Always add a little bit more white into your yellow. And brighten it up just on the edge. You can see this one is very translucent. you have too much medium, it will be too translucent. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here, start laying in my leaves in a different direction. So if you're left-handed, these ones will be easier for you. Okay, there's always an easier way and a harder way for everybody. Okay, so if it's hard for you in one direction, then you have to do 50 more of those strokes. Okay. By the time you get 100, then you'll be a pro. Lots of leaves, lots of practice. Right? Going right over my little stitch here, but that's okay. So I'll definitely add more medium. Get that moisture in there first. Then if you go in there and add just a little bit more paint, your second stroke should come in a little bit better too. Okay. Plop down straight into a point. Okay, so if you want them to look down, then you're going to start them in different directions. Okay, so this one I went straight. Add a little bit more white on my edge. How bright that is. So the nice thing is all these ones that stick out, you can go over them later, like I said, with your brush again. Then you can add a little bit more brightness on them if you want. So down here, definitely more paint. Medium. Once you realize the amount of moisture you need, then it definitely comes a little faster. Prepare your brush. Watch how you're picking up. All my tips and tricks, guys, are in my intro program. And here. You do notice a little bit of stickiness, a little bit of weirdness. Like it is definitely made the multi-surface paint different. It's softer. So cool. Just that little bit of medium. Okay, so if it's easier for you guys, and sometimes it is easier to turn things around so you don't put your elbow or wrist into wet paint. Add a little bit. Yeah. Scoop up some of that good stuff. Okay, so again, just making some little branches. Just brick layered, kind of. Bump that out. I have lots of little dance names for my strokes. We do the waltz, the tango, the cha-cha, the bump, the wiggle, of course. Right, guys? All my VIPs. What's your favorite dance? Backflip? Alrighty. So, in there. I do this quick enough for you guys that are watching. It's just basically very repetitive here with your leaves. Okay. Let those dry. Not too globby. If it's too globby, sometimes I will just touch it just enough to pull that paint up if it's too globby. Okay, especially your first coats, guys. Okay, make them nice, smooth strokes. Too much. Alright, and then we're going to put a couple down here on top of our fountain. A bit more pressure. A bit more medium too if it's not letting you push. Put 3 here. So we can always add more leaves in spaces later. And we can downsize our brush and maybe put in some smaller ones. Okay, and this is why I haven't put any veins in yet, guys, because usually we'll put a little vein in there, right? But unfortunately with fabric, we want to wait, okay? So see how your coverage is, especially on these areas that have never been painted on before. You probably get beautiful coverage right here on top of your fountain. You'll see the difference. So over here, when you're, you know, on an area that you're done, you know, you can definitely float in a little bit of a vein, a little bit of one. Okay, so again, my leaf is dry. I don't like my little vein, it's too big. Just gonna come in and erase some of it. But my leaf wasn't dry. Okay, so you might have to come over and stroke that leaf again. Try again. Up on your chisel a little bit more, very gentle touch, and then bring that in. Get your head in there too. You can see what you're doing. Slide that very light. Sometimes I'll pick up my corner of my brush just ever lightly, just so that it's just the corner of my brush being used to come through. Okay, so depending on if you want it to be dark, and flip over with your dark leading. It just depends on your color of your leaves. If your leaves are really dark, then you definitely want your veins to be a little lighter. Okay, so play with them depending on the colors you choose. Flip your brush around and get different color veins. Okay, so I'm going to leave these guys, let them dry, and then I'm going to start putting in some flowers. Okay, so I definitely want to clean my brush with some water. Okay, but now I'm not just doing this and going into my paint. I'm doing this. Okay, really make sure you sandwich all that water out, guys. Okay, so I put a green in there. Okay, make sure you got all that water out, guys, as much as you can when you're changing colors. Okay, so then that way it's going to be mostly all properties that you need, right? Paint and the medium. Is that a moon or daffodil yellow? That's the daffodil. Yeah, you could use moon yellow if you want a little bit brighter. We have some new people here that's joining us here. I don't recognize the names, but thank you for coming. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. Alrighty, so flowers, any colors you want. All right, last time I did just a yellow and maybe a yellow ochre and white. On this one with the browns, definitely if you want to pop it up, you know, more pinks, blues, purples, oranges, yellows, bright yellows. I definitely thought, you know, with the blue bag and knowing that it was going to my mom, that I had to, you know, do her favorite colors. So keep that in mind. You know, she's not a real pink or purple person. She's a very earth tone kind of color girl. So if you're giving this away for a gift, so make sure that, you know, you're picking their favorite colors. And then that way they'll be enjoy it a lot more. Okay, so I'm going to try and use, I think, some pink with my magenta or engine red, whatever you like. And just going to try and find a clean spot to put this pink in here that it's not soaking wet. Right, so just need a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do some teardrops, guys. Guys in the boot camp did this last week. Okay, so I'm always just putting a little bit of the textile medium at a time, just a few drops, so that way it doesn't run all over my plate, and I can keep it clean too, because if you got different colors going on, it's going to end up getting dirty on you, and then you want it to be nice and bright in your white areas, and definitely, you know, nice for your dark areas. Okay, so I think this is fairly, I've got a tiny little bit of yellow in there. That's okay, it's just dirtying my white. And you guys that know me well, you know I love my dirty whites. And it just gives you a softer vintage kind of look. Alright, so I'm going to actually move up a little bit more in my pile because I just want a little bit of pink and mostly white. Okay, so you can just adjust your gradient by moving up out of your pile a little bit more, and then also going over here and picking up some side load into your white. If you're having a real hard time getting that crisp white, the clean, then definitely come over and side load. Okay, but that's if you only want a little bit of white at the top. Yeah, we can make them a little darker. Okay, so you're going to do the opposite if you want them to be less pink. Okay, so we do some side loading, add some of that medium in there while we're loading. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of a trickle of, I forgot a leaf over here and here, but I could always actually just make that into a flower. Okay, and then we'll add some more into it later. So when you want to just do a little bit of a filler flower kind of look, okay, you definitely want to make sure that you have your medium and everything all nice and fluid. Okay, so you're just doing like little chisel strokes and you're coming down like in a brick layer. A little bit wider. And then come in a little bit narrower. Okay. Just do a few of those. Little filler flowers. I think we did a few over here too. Put those in the background first. Just little touches. And here it's all been previously painted, so I should get pretty good coverage. Okay, if you do want to put another coat of leaves, you could blow dry them, do your leaves, get them all done, so then that way you don't have to worry about going on top of them. Okay, or you can just go fix them a little bit, side load a little color, add that in there. Okay, so I want to put a little bit of a trail upside down. Okay, so you can make them a little bit thinner too. You don't have to go so wide. And just slowly just brick layering them on top. And then we're going to curl our way in so that it looks like it's coming out of the top. Okay, always add a few like that. A little bit over here. Now these ones have never been on base coated, right? So over here you definitely want to have that extra medium, lots of paint, because it's not something that you're going to stroke over, you're just laying it on more, so it can be a little bit thicker. Just play with it. Okay, back up with a couple. You have to go over them again, then you just have to start at the top again, and then just slowly keep adding white. Medium. You just got to be precise on where you're going over them again. Make it a little bit whiter. Come in. Just little small ones. Always add those in later. Turn it right way up, and then you'll see if it looks proportioned or not for you. And we could put a couple more here too, along our leaves. It's always a little bit trickier doing things upside down, but you get used to it. You just keep practicing those strokes in the direction that you feel most comfortable, and then start pushing it by making them upside down and sideways. Okay, so then we're going to put in some of our bigger flowers, okay? So you can definitely come in right at the base of these and do like little tiny teardrops. Okay, so you can come in smaller. That's more fresh white. Okay, and then I like to go around all the edges and just do a couple petals. Here and there. Or on the outside. Okay, brick layer them a little bit. Adding more medium, more paint. That one's giving me good coverage. It all depends on how many flowers and leaves you want to put them. And then, of course, I made this one a little bit bigger, so using a bigger brush. So I'm going to put another little one here. These are like the fancy tulips, a little bit more ruffled. Okay, so just a little bit of bumpy look. And I'm going to put one right over the stem. Okay, so once you have all the outside done, then definitely you can start layering a little bit more. And putting some more full flowers in there. So a lot of our 5-petal flowers have like a head and a hand on them. Okay. And sweet. Making it like a nice soft pink color. My paint is so messy right now. But I'm going with it. I'm thinking I'm liking that soft vintage pink look. Okay, they don't have to be breaking white. Like I said, I'm a fan of dirty white. Okay, and then you can always go over around your edges and brighten them up a little bit more after too. Okay, so get that in there so you have your nice blend of light and dark. A little bit of a teardrop style with the pivot point. Okay, so you're going all the way around and coming back to that same pivot point. And I'm going to layer a little bit. Not worry about that other stroke. Right over it. Brighter. Underneath to fix it if you want. I'm trying to stay out of your way too, so hopefully you guys can see strokes. Okay, and then we'll put a couple more little ones over here. Medium. I can tell it's already just trying to fight with me and not cover, so either I don't, if my paint is good and loaded, then you know you need more medium, guys. It's just about playing with it, and then if you have too much medium, it'll be too translucent. So like I said, the paint will tell you when you need more. Okay, so I'm going to go and layer over that one. This way. You won't need as much medium on the second coats too, because it's sitting on the base coat, right? So you'll get a much nicer coverage, but you still need to have the textile medium in there. Otherwise, your top coat is going to be hard, right? So you need to keep adding that medium in there. I'm gonna do this quick, guys, too. You guys that are watching. Okay, just add another one. Got a nice full one there down at the bottom. Okay, so like I said, there's always room for more filler flowers, more curlicues, smaller leaves. I want to fill this all up with a little bit smaller leaves. And then if we have some yellow, then we can just use the handle of our brush and put in some really pretty cute little easy centers. Right, nice bright yellow. Wherever you have the view of the center. So if it's just peeking out some areas, you don't need to put little dots in all of them. Okay, just leave them with like little buds. Okay, unless you can see the center of it really good. Might maybe peek a small one there, and maybe a small one there, I said. Getting excited. Okay, so make sure things are dry and then you can erase them easy. Alright. Small one. So if you guys haven't seen how to do dots before, you can count your dots. You can put them on your plate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll see they get smaller and smaller as you keep dotting, and then you learn, okay, number 3 is the size I want, so I have to go 1, 2, and then over onto my flower, and then it'll be that size. Okay, so I was just being a little cocky there and grabbing paint. Okay, because they are pretty big flowers. All right, so what do you think of those flowers so far, guys? I'm creating on the fly, guys. It might be a little bit different than my original, that's for sure. But hopefully it's better than my original, right? Oh, but thank you, Brenda. You think I'm doing a great job. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. So definitely, like I said, you can come in with your 12 or your 10s, a little smaller brush, and go in and make some more one-stroke leaves. Okay, so we're going to find a clean spot on our plate somewhere, right in this medium. Okay, I'm going to pick up paint. Pick up some nice bright yellow, pick up some medium, work that in, because you can kind of feel the stickiness on your plate, guys. You can really tell that it needs the medium in there. Okay, so like I said, you can pre-mix it, you can work it in as you're floating, especially when you're doing double loading, work it in as you need it, or you can base coat your item with a little bit of moisture first and then go in with your paint. Okay, so we can definitely come in here and do some more stems and add some more, like more floater leaves, right? The shadow leaves. Picking up a little bit of pink in my green, which is actually quite nice. Makes a little bit of a dirty, softer color. Okay. Get a gloopiness, just pull that out. So we can just go in and find some areas that just need a few more leaves. And actually, I like the pink leaves. Let's make some dirty pink leaves. Okay. Add a little bit of pink and white in your light side and your thicket and sap on the other side. Okay, so you can always float in wherever you feel like you need a little different leaf. Okay. Your stems in there, make sure they're connected somewhere inside your design. Or white into that pink. A bit more there. I try not to overthink it sometimes. I just feel it and see where it needs it. Okay. Stem in there. I definitely have to go and sneak in my little stems all in my leaves here still. Right, and then this is where I also put in just like little branches, little sticks. So just with some burnt umber, or you can use a liner brush if you want, guys, to make these little twiggy things sticking out. All right, so it just depends on what you feel more comfortable with. Definitely need a little bit of brown and some white. Instead of making curlicues, you're just making little branches. So whatever you want to do, either you want to do branches or you want to do curlicues. Okay, I'm going to show you guys with the liner brush. Okay, so again, I need some more medium over here. And I'm just putting a tiny little bit at a time because I know I am not only doing a few strokes and I don't need too much paint. Okay, so I'm working it in as I need it. Okay. I feel the consistency in my brush. I can feel the thickness, so I'm just working over a little bit more of that medium as I feel like I need it. Okay. And then that way you can get little thin strokes, because if you don't have enough medium in there, it's not going to allow you to go into the material. Okay, so if your brush is really globby, guys, I always wipe off the excess of it. Then I just come in and pick up what I need on the edge, and I just bring that out of my pile a little bit. Okay, so if you want to lighten things up a little bit, you can always just add that little bit of white. Okay, and I try not to stir it too much. I just kind of flip-flop it through it, make it streaky a little bit. And you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then we can just figure out where we want to have our little branches that's sticking out. Usually they're all like little Ys. You want them to look like little branches. But a lot of them I just went and did like little wigglies. You know those little decorations you can buy that are just like little filler kind of. Some of them are gold or silver. You can always pop that in with a little bit of silver or gold. And what I would do is just do it with the brown so you have a little bit of a base coat, and then trickle a little bit of gold over it. Okay, so just adding a little bit more interest here and there. Not too much. Okay, so we didn't put any. So you see what happened there. I didn't have enough medium in my brush. So it's going to make a big fat blob. Just want thin, thin, thin little lines. Need a little bit more medium in there. And so we can always make this guy a big branch. Okay, so this is where I said if you make a mistake on an area that is not covered, then you gotta get creative, guys, and put something else in there. And you know, I meant to do that. Right? It's Donna's favorite line. I've adopted mine as well. Alright, so we're gonna just kind of make some wiggly ones. And if you have enough floating medium in there, let you do that. Really nice and fine. Add a little bit here at the end. Make sure they're attached or look like they're coming in from outside your container. Alright. Little tiny craziness is coming just randomly down. Wiggles. Some down a little longer than others. And slow down. I have to keep telling myself that. Slow down. So just little wiggles. Go pick up a little bit of white if you want to just highlight a few. Go over them again with a little bit of white just to brighten some up. Okay. Just have fun with it, guys. I hope you guys will share your versions on the Facebook group so we can all see your work. Or if you're too shy, then just send them to me in private messenger. Love to see them. Tag me on your profile. Some people share them on their profile and tag me. Even my personal profile is fine too. Okay, so of course we need to put our little signature in there. Right? Oh, I just put my initials now and maybe the date. And then if you want, you guys can also use these Identa pens. Okay, they come in white and black and a bunch of different colors. And the nice thing is they come with a really fine point tip, and they come with a thicker side to them as well. And if you want to sign your name with them on the fabric, they are like multi-surface and they're permanent and they won't bleed like Sharpies will. Okay, so just a little bit more on these Identa pens. There's so many different fabric ink creations that you can play around with, and or if you wanted to do just a little bit more detail, you know, somewhere, you know, you could always use your marker to go in there. Right, and then I did show you that. I tell you I was going to come in just a little darker over the with that shading there. Okay, so you can use anything dark, like a Parisian blue would look nice if you want a little bit more tint of blue. If you want it a little bit darker, you can definitely add just that tiniest bit of. So I got a clean brush, guys. Okay, I washed it, drying it really good. You can't see over there. Okay, I dry it really, really good. Grab some clean textile medium here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to come over and I'm just going to tip one corner of my brush into the gray. And I'm going to go and grab lots of that, well, not lots, but a good amount of medium. Find a clean spot on your plate. Okay, just to start working that in, I'm picking up pink. Okay, so I got a clean plate over here. Okay, so make sure it's clean. Alright, so I'm gonna go over and pick up that gray again and my blob of medium. Okay, so maybe you guys can see better over here too. Alright, so there's no white or anything on my brush. It's just the gray on the one side of my brush with a bunch of that textile medium. Put a couple more drops over here if I need it. It's so bright. Wait, it's so hard. Okay, then I'm going to go and pick up the smallest little pea of black just to darken that gray. It's too black, pick up a bit more gray because you just want like a soft black, right? Just like a charcoal kind of color. Right? Make sure that you can get just that little bit of a light shade. Okay? If you need more translucent color, just add a little bit more medium as you need it. And keep pushing on it, it'll push that line right up. Okay. So this is where if you wanted to add just a little bit more shading in places. I still picked up a bit of pink. It's got a nice pinky gray color to it now. There we go. Yeah, blib. Alright, so anywhere you want it to be a little bit darker, especially around the outside here edge, you want those to be a little bit darker than your stripes. Okay. Always go in and just add that little bit with one color on the corner of your brush and side load. And especially for your steps, if you feel like you need them separated a little bit more, then definitely just go across the tops of them. Add a little bit more of a shadow there. Just a simple kind of look here, guys. You can get into so much more details. And I do plan to go into so much more details in more projects to come. Alright, so I do have another topiary that we can do in the fall with a big pumpkin in it. And lots of ideas to come, guys. Alright. Play with it. Have fun with it. I'll take a picture of this and share it with you guys all in the Facebook group. So you guys can see a good picture of it done. Those really stemmed, yeah, the little fillers, you know, sometimes just that's all you need. I could have put a couple more over here too, or you know, some more smaller one-stroke leaves if you really wanted to. Okay. So I wanted the focus to definitely be my flower, and I can see already that some areas were a little bit faint. Okay, so definitely I would take the blow dryer to this, guys, go over with a little bit of white and floating medium like I showed you guys how to add the extra shading in there. You're going to add the extra little bit of highlight, or if you feel like you have to go over the strokes again, definitely, you know, the fabric is fussy that way, and you will have to go over things twice to get a little bit brighter look. Get your pink in the leaves. Yeah, dirty leaves. Those are Donna Dewberry favorites. She's always got dirty brush. And it was an accident. And I was like, oh, okay, I like it. Let's leave it. I was going for a brighter look. And then I thought, oh, no, yeah, it's nice to have them different colors. So definitely go ahead and finish it. I know you guys know how to add your little stems now and there, right? And go over things if you need to. And like I said, guys, at this point right now where things are still a little bit wet, if you wanted to go and set your... Oh, I got my... It's stuck in one of the fabrics there. My little paper clip is just stuck a lot around the stitch. Okay, so you'll see that it will stick. And right now it's a little bit flexible. Right, hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, and then hold this open and blow dry it. And then that way you can pull that out once the back is dry. And or what I did was I just left it in there and then took it out the next day. And or you can stick it over a juice jug, guys. I had like a juice jug that I had, and then you just put it upside down over your jug and let it sit aired out like this overnight, and then that way it'll be not touching your back as well. Okay, so give you lots and lots and lots of ideas here how to do fabric. I do have other courses available now that I painted on fabric available. If you guys want to jump on them, you need the patterns for them, you need to learn more about the stroke work, definitely those courses are got the practice sheets in there for you as well. Wow, lots of comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my god, I'm so excited to be here today. Becky says, love these. Awesome. Thank you, Becky. Well done. Look up and it's gorgeous. Ah, you're practicing with me, Brenda. Awesome. Thank you. I love to see that. So please share them with the group. It's full and dainty. Thank you, thank you. Oh, this was awesome. Yes, I had so much fun. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did.